Hello, everyone. It is Friday afternoon, Friday Power Boost lunchtime meditation. And today we have a very special topic, silence and the language of silence. And one of the things that people tell us when they learn or want to learn to meditate is that they want to experience silence. In silence of mind, they are kind of fed up with the chatter of going on in their own mind, the chatter of this inner voice or these thoughts flooding our mind. And real silence is not so much absence of thoughts, but or the calming of the mind is not so much absence of thoughts, but more that there is a high quality of thoughts. And of course, we know that we can stop talking, or we can try to create an environment where there is no sound or very little sound or only nature sound, sounds of nature. But the noise in here may be much less easy to control. And so for that, we of course have to go a bit deeper to our state of mind and our consciousness, and realize that our attachments and the different ego that we have collected over time are creating their own thoughts and their own desires and using this mind to create all kinds of thoughts. So one good method to come to a more silent, quiet mind, a mind where there is quality of thoughts, is to have spiritual practices and adopt a perspective where we diminish our dependencies and attachments and ego. And of course, for that, we need a deeper spiritual practice of reinforcing our spiritual identity instead of the false identities. Knowing the self as a spiritual being of light, a being of consciousness, an invisible experiencer who plays this part in this drama of human life. And of course, meditation is used to reinforce that spiritual identity. But that is a long-term practice. But it would help to do it regularly. And it will definitely help you construct a more quiet state of mind and higher quality of thoughts. But also simple practices like being more silent, speaking less. There is a beautiful quote from some of the great people of the previous century. If let your speak only words that improve on silence. And so to have that attention to speak less. Many things that we speak maybe not very useful, or not very essential. So let whatever comes out of our mouth, let it be better than silence. And if it is not, then maybe it is better to be quiet. But also when we do speak, let us speak softly. Let us speak gently. Let us speak with the aim to uplift rather than to create unpleasantness. And in silence, even physical silence in the sense of not speaking, we can communicate most of the time very effectively, even through, through Zoom and internet. And the language of silence is the language of thoughts, the language of thoughts of upliftment, the language of good wishes, the language of a pure vision of the other, the language of an attitude where we reinforce internally and in interaction feelings of brotherhood and an attitude and a vision of brotherhood. Through our attitude, through our thoughts, through our facial expressions, we can communicate a lot and very effectively in many ways. Our thoughts, our feelings, our good wishes, and the language of the eyes, the energy and the expressions communicated through the eyes can communicate. If one, for example, has deeper, sincere, authentic feelings of love, or an attitude of cooperation and appreciation, or respect, or even peace, or happiness, there is no need to say, I love you. One can express that through thoughts that can be picked up in the form of vibrations and atmosphere. One can express that through attitude and vision and facial expression, saying with happiness, saying with enthusiasm. And humanity has lost or is losing more and more this ability to be perceptive and to perceive and to communicate through these different forms of the language of silence. And this language of silence cannot truly be dishonest. We can maybe fake a smile with the vibrations, the attitude behind will still tell the truth. And so a society where maybe there is less talking and more language of silence, maybe a more virtuous society, a more pleasant society. But of course, for us to be able to be in that state and to communicate like that, there is a deeper spiritual practice needed, which I already mentioned in the beginning. This practice of reinforcing our spiritual identity and our understanding and awareness of that we are travelers and visitors in this physical dimension, and that we belong to that home beyond this physical dimension, and that we are essentially invisible, non-physical, immortal, divine beings of light, in the image of a tiny star, children of the Supreme God. And to remember the Supreme Soul, to remember that home of silence and light, that invisible dimension, and to remember the true self, the true identity as a peaceful, timeless, living light who is visiting this physical world, playing out the part. And this reality is true for everyone. And to practice this in our awareness, in our attitude, in our vision, to play with these understandings and apply them when taking decisions and interacting, will emerge that higher nature, that innate, natural state of the soul. And then we will naturally feel less and less inclined to use sound. And we will definitely refrain from useless noise or negative words. So let's take a few moments to tap into that silence of the soul, that silent dimension beyond, and to experience that eternal relationship, eternal connection with God, who is like an ocean of silence and stillness and higher refined thought. And so let that be the aim, to have 100% attention and 100% focus on the true self, the soul, the immortal, invisible, player. Let's just aim to grasp this understanding. Being a player in this game of life. This invisible star is the player. And let us aim to grasp this understanding, being timeless, immortal, peaceful, free, innately secure, regardless of what the play brings. Being of light is imperishable. And all are like this. Innocent and pure, free, fully self-contained. joyful and playful beings of light. And try and grasp this deeper understanding of the home of the soul, home of the family of souls, and home of God. The eternal dimension beyond this dimension of matter, the dimension of the play. And use the mind's eye to perceive this dimension as a timeless, infinite expanse, silence, and gentle, golden like light. In the home and in the awareness of home, all are good, all are beautiful, all are lovely, and all are love, unconditional, forever, regardless of the part. Love is in love and being loved and belonging is irrespective of the part that is being acted out. The actor is good. Innately and forever. Just try and immerse the mind in this feeling of stillness, of comfort, being safe. The real self is a being of peace. Peace and silence is the natural nature of the soul. And the home is the home of stillness and silence. And the eternal parent is the ocean of silence. And even though it's silent star approaches the physical dimension, uses the body to play the part according to the highest codes and conducts. This star comes into sound and actions. The awareness remains of belonging to that world of silence and innately a being of peace. Thank you. And enjoy the silence inside going through the rest of the Friday afternoon and evening. Have a good weekend.